From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
The Marion County Health Department is offering low-cost flu shot clinics throughout the month. I'm Stephanie Wade with why they want you to get vaccinated.
It's really tough. Yeah, as a Black woman, it's really tough for us to kind of get out there and find a job.
A new study reveals the Black community is having a tougher time rebounding from the pandemic. We look into the reasons why and what's being done to help. Also here at 6, IMPD is unveiling a new way for officers to connect with you, how this new system works and how it could help you.
Our deep dive into the District 5 congressional race continues. Tonight, we go one-on-one with Libertarian nominee Ken Tucker.
Hurricane Delta may have an impact on part of our weekend. We'll follow the remnants and our rain chances.
And thank you for watching WRTV News at 6 on this Wednesday evening. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. First at 6 o'clock tonight, recently we've seen an increase in COVID-19 cases and deaths here in Indiana, nearly 2 weeks after the state moved to stage 5 of its reopening plan. And tonight, Indiana's health commissioner is talking about this urgent issue. Today, the Indiana State Department of Health confirms 1,302 additional cases of COVID-19. More than 128,000 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with coronavirus. The Department of Health also reports 17 additional deaths, so that means 3,500 people in Indiana have died with COVID-19 since the pandemic began. And out of the 1.4 million Hoosiers who have been tested for COVID, 8.9% of them tested positive for coronavirus. That's up from the 8.8% cumulative positivity rate earlier this week. And with the flu season approaching as COVID cases and deaths rise, we asked Indiana State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box if we've seen any flu cases or flu deaths yet.
We have not had those reported. There may be some cases. Lindsay, you work in the emergency room. What are you seeing?
We're watching carefully for it, and I will say too that we've already begun surveillance, which we do every year, looking for flu. We have the ability to test for both flu and COVID with our surveillance system, so that'll give us some more information. And we're also collect information on what we call ILI, or influenza-like illness, to start arriving to the emergency departments. But we have not seen a big uptick as of yet, but we'll be watching that very carefully.
Sticking with the flu, the CDC is urging everyone 6 months and older to get the flu vaccine. They say they need more people than ever to get that shot. Doctors say it's critical not just for you, but for hospitals too. WRTV's Stephanie Wade answers the frequently asked questions we all have surrounding the flu and the COVID-19 pandemic.
Today, people are getting their flu shot here at Old Bethel Church. It's just one of the low-cost flu shot clinics the Marion County Health Department is offering throughout the month, encouraging people to get vaccinated.
I wanted to get my flu shot because I'm 75 and I want to stay healthy as I can.
And that's a good thing Gretchen Toy opted to, doctors say, because people who are older or very young are most at risk of getting the flu, even recommending people over 65 get a high-dose vaccine.
It's very important for everybody to do it, especially now with the pandemic.
Really, anything that we can do to prevent any respiratory illnesses this winter, we should do.
During this COVID era, the medical director of infection prevention at IU Health says it's important to know the flu and the coronavirus look the same. They cause the same symptoms and utilize the same hospital resources like ventilators.
They spread the same way. They can transfer in hospitals the same way. So we need to do everything we can to protect everyone around us.
Dr. Cole Beeler says they're expecting for COVID to spike this winter, making it that much more crucial people get the flu vaccine.
Since we're expecting worsening, we want to make sure that our ICUs are nice and wide open so that they can take care of COVID patients and that we don't have as much flu-related morbidity or disease this year.
Reminding people it is possible to be infected with the flu and COVID at the same time.
We're already seeing co-infections with COVID and other respiratory viruses that are circulating. So my guess is that as we move into flu season, we'll see a lot more co-infections.
It takes a few weeks for your body to build immunity from the vaccine. The CDC is urging people to get their shot by the end of October, before the virus begins to spread. Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
If you don't feel comfortable or want to stay away from the doctor's office or hospital, Dr. Beeler recommends getting in touch with your primary care physician. They can talk through your symptoms over the phone and maybe consider you for the Tamiflu medication.
A new national study reveals a startling trend. According to the Department of Labor, the black community is having the toughest time recovering from the pandemic when it comes to landing jobs. WRTV's Troy Washington spoke with a woman who is back on her feet after being laid off back in May.
Shania Wooden worked in the insurance industry before the pandemic hit.
I lost my job, and I lost it due to that, of course, the doctor's office and things like that were shut down. A lot of people were doing telehealth. So the company was kind of losing business. So they had to let about 50 people in the company go. So I was one of those ones they let go.
Right away, she started to worry.
I was just like, what am I going to do? I have, house payment, a car payment. I just have a lot of bills. I didn't want those bills to, pile up on me. So the first thing that I did was I got online and applied for unemployment.
Wooden connected with the Reset Center, a community resource that helped connect her with her next opportunity.
It's really tough. Yeah, as a black woman, it's really tough for us to kind of get out there and find a job within, our career or maybe the salary range. So, and that was kind of another thing for me, looking at the salary range, because, like I said, some of the jobs that I did interview with, they didn't want to pay what I wanted, to make.
In fact, a recent study based on National Department of Labor numbers found that black men and women are having the hardest time getting their jobs back during the pandemic. The study says more than half of white Americans have gotten their jobs back, compared to only 34% for black men and 39% for black women have been reemployed.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all because, right now with what's going on, it's really hard.
We checked with the Indiana Department of Workforce Development. They tell us that more Hoosiers are getting back to work as things reopen. They tell us nearly 65% of the workforce is back, like Wooden, who is already back to work.
It was a struggle, but I did make ends meet. Yeah, I started back in August. I've been there for 60 days now. It kind of came through at the right moment.
Her advice for anyone still looking:
just keep going. I know it's a struggle, but just keep going, keep pushing, keep praying, and it will come your way.
Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
And it is our mission through Hiring Hoosiers to connect you to jobs and resources that will help you get through the pandemic. One way we do that is through the job feed. Hiring Hoosiers partners Ferion needs warehouse associates and forklift operators to begin work immediately in Franklin, Indiana. Pay ranges from $13.75 to $15.50 an hour. You must be able to lift up to 50 pounds and be on your feet for 8 hours. Biomat USA Plasma Center on Capitol Avenue in Indianapolis needs reliable people to join their team. The company does provide benefits. Indiana Mentor is a home and community-based human services provider. They are seeking direct support professionals. You will provide care and support to individuals with disabilities. You can learn more about all of these open positions by reading their posts on the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page. IMPD is hoping to connect with the community in a new way as they launch a pilot program for an app called Relay. It's designed for non-emergency situations. People can log on and report things like suspicious activity, found property, and vandalism. They even have the option to upload pictures and videos. IMPD is trying it out in the North District. Officers there will be directly monitoring the app. They're then able to respond to messages in real time.
We're out driving around all the time, but sometimes we're never where people want us to be. So, this is a way to help guide us to the areas that you're having problems with in your neighborhood.
IMPD says the app does not take the place of 911 or 311, which is the non-emergency line. Those should both still be used when there is a need for an officer to respond quickly. Fishers police say they have been using the Relay app for about a year. They have thousands of residents signed up, and they say it has helped strengthen relationships between officers and citizens, as well as create safer communities.
Two fighters with the Islamic State group are expected to arrive in the United States today. They face charges in relation to their participation in a hostage-taking scheme that led to the deaths of 4 people, including Indianapolis native Abdul Rahman, who is also known as Peter Kasich. Former British citizens Alexander Amon Cody and El Shafi El Sheikh are expected to make their initial appearances in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. The indictment from the U.S. Department of Justice alleges the men, along with 2 other Islamic State fighters, helped abduct American and European hostages in Syria. Kasich, an Indianapolis native and Butler University student, was captured while providing medical aid to Syrians in October of 2013. In November of 2014, the Islamic State Media Center released video showing Kasich dead.
The second day of early voting is in the books, and once again, people were contending with long lines across central Indiana to vote. This is our drone footage above the line outside of the City County building in downtown Indianapolis earlier today. Marion County broke a record for the number of people taking part in the first day of early voting. So if you plan to vote early, you may have to wait in line for a bit. And we continue to cast a spotlight on Indiana's 5th Congressional District seat, which is open right now. A lot of our viewing area is within the 5th District. That includes parts of Marion County, Hamilton County, part of Boone County, Madison County, Tipton County, Grant County, and Blackford County. The incumbent, Susan Brooks, is retiring. So tonight, our Nicole Griffin sits down with the Libertarian nominee, Ken Tucker.
For 11 years, Ken Tucker taught children in Noblesville, but now his focus is on raising his 2 daughters. For the last 5 years, he's been a stay-at-home dad.
Now I'm jumping into politics because I want to be the voice of the people.
Tucker says he's not asking for or accepting donations. Instead, the Libertarian candidate for Indiana's 5th Congressional District says he's leading a grassroots campaign.
Lately, I put a big sign on the top of my car and I drive it, and it's been all over the district.
The key issues he is focusing on are education, equality, and the environment.
Whether it's the Black Lives Matter movement of today or being a father of 2 young daughters and understanding that the world's not, our free world is not equal to them.
If elected, Tucker says he would fight for wage equality. As far as the economy, he is also in favor of legalizing marijuana, which he says would create new markets in the Hoosier State.
Hemp and marijuana are the future for our agricultural. My focus on the environment, I would love to increase wind cultivation. So when you look at that, that's steel, that's employment, that's jobs.
I also asked Tucker about the coronavirus. He says it's important to listen to the scientists and follow the advice of experts to slow the spread.
In terms of stopping anything, whether it's, the coronavirus or even, racism, it all kind of starts at home. It starts from practicing, good hygiene and practicing good human beingism, right? People aren't born racist.
If elected, the former teacher also wants to change what he calls a broken funding formula for teachers.
Injecting it with even more money from a brand new taxable source would lessen the burden on homeowners and people in every district.
Tucker says ultimately he wants people to know there is another option, someone he says will be the voice of the people.
This has been kind of an experiment for me because it's a general inquiry of how people get elected. And unfortunately, it seems like whoever has the most money kind of wins. I don't have enough money to put signs up everywhere, but I do have time. And I think time is the most important thing that anyone can give another human being.
Working for you, Nicole Griffin, WRTV.
Also on the ballot for Indiana's 5th Congressional District race is Democratic nominee Christina Hale and Republican nominee Victoria Spartz. And you can learn more about each candidate by going to WRTV.com and clicking on the Election 2020 tab.
Today, a federal appeals court upheld a ruling affirming Indiana's current limits on absentee voting by mail. The bottom line is, if it appears you will not be able to generally use the COVID-19 pandemic as a reason to vote by mail. A group of voters had sued the state in an effort to expand the list of reasons to qualify to vote by absentee ballot. Several other states are allowing voters to cast ballots by mail to avoid contracting the virus, but the appeals court cited the fact that Indiana already offers about a dozen reasons to request an absentee ballot, as well as several weeks of in-person early voting as reasons to uphold Indiana's current limits on voting by mail. If you can't vote in person and plan to take part in absentee voting by mail, you need to file an application for an absentee ballot immediately. October 22nd is the deadline to turn in your application for a ballot. Then when you get your absentee ballot, you must fill it out and send it back in. Last week's order from a federal judge means your absentee ballot will be counted as long as it's postmarked on or before Election Day on November 3rd and received in the election office of your county by November 13th. We have everything you need to know about the November general election on our website, WRTV.com. You can find the important dates, rules, and information on the candidates that you should know before you cast your ballot. That's all at WRTV.com/vote in 2020. And don't forget, tonight you can watch the vice presidential debate right here on WRTV. Coverage starts with a 2020 special at 8 o'clock, followed by the debate at 9. And then stay tuned for the news at 11 here on WRTV.
And across all of central Indiana, space station flyover tonight. I'll have all the details so you can step outside with your family. That's next.
From no season at all to an October of anticipation, football is back on for Ball State, IU, and Purdue. And those teams are ramping up their practices. Coming up in sports, we check in with all three with their first game in sight.
And what a day across central Indiana as temperatures jumped into, in some cases, the middle to upper 80s. Temperatures were warmest Terre Haute, Bloomington, also Seymour and Bedford will be a little bit cooler as we get to the day tomorrow. We're currently still at 82 in Indianapolis. Check out Sullivan, 88. Terre Haute still middle 80s, 87 in Bloomington. Temperatures in the northern portion of the state will be in the 70s. As you look at our current stretch of dry days without a tenth of an inch or more on any single day, it extends to 50 days. That's what's making this warmth possible. The sunshine, the south wind, the low humidity, incredibly dry conditions all lead then to the very warm temperatures. As you look at the tracking of the tropics, Hurricane Delta will make landfall as we get to Friday and then curve to the northeast. That will put us in play, at least for some of the remnants in the southern half of the state. Temperatures during the weekend will come down a bit, especially on Sunday as a result of the clouds and the showers. We can hope for the best. Right now it looks like third of an inch in the metro area, more south and east, less to the north and west. What a beautiful evening now. Skies are clear, and they'll stay that way, which means it's perfect tonight to check out the space station flyover. 7:48. That's when it will appear low in the northwest. A steady white light. You can follow it. It'll pass almost directly overhead. At 7:54, 6 minutes later, it will disappear in the Earth's shadow in the southeast. Temperatures during the day tomorrow in the mid-70s, so cooler with a general northeast wind. Temperatures middle to upper 70s. And then it's a strong south wind again as we get to Friday. That will boost our temperatures back into the upper 70s. We'll stay there Saturday. That chance of rain and cloud cover on Sunday knocks our temperatures back into the lower 70s. And as you look at the 7-day planner, temperatures stay in the 70s until the middle of next week. We'll be back to 67 degrees. We've got a 3-day stretch here where at least we have a chance for rain. That's Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Amanda?
Thanks, Kevin. We can use that rain. College football games have been going for about a month now. Ball State, Purdue, and IU. They've all had to wait, but soon those teams will be lining up for their first game of the season. Brad Brown has a look at how all three are getting closer to kickoff in our Sports Extra Spotlight.
The work continues, looking much like any other first week of October. But this, of course, is hardly anything typical this year. For the football teams at IU, Purdue, and Ball State, it's an extended preseason. But at least there is a season at all on the horizon.
Watching people play on TV gets tougher and tougher every single week.
I just know it's going to be different, and we've talked about that already.
We're obviously hopeful for the best, but we understand the situation. But our guys, to this point, have done a great job.
The Boilermakers are getting back on the field now with a definite Week 1 date on the calendar. The Big Ten initially said no to fall football. With plans back in place, Purdue is resetting its timetable.
When I heard the news we was going to get to play, I was very excited because you see the other teams play and you kind of think that it's unfair that other universities get to play, but you don't get to play. But I'm happy that the Big Ten came up with a final decision to allow us to play.
We saw all these other teams, even, West Lafayette's a mile away from us and they're playing football. So we were kind of like, why can't we play? And so I think we're really just grateful that we get to play no matter what teams we're playing.
Here in Bloomington, the IU football team wondered if they would have a season at all, but they worked all along the way. So once the Big Ten waved the green flag on 2020, head coach Tom Allen feels like his Hoosiers are ready to go.
Try and speed up the learning process. We've done more situations, even through walkthroughs, situational things in both special teams and offense and defense, trying to teach those right now to be able to get guys ready to play at a high level.
I think he did a great job of making sure we feel good and we're healthy, but still getting the work in and making sure we're gaining on what we've done in the past. I think we've done a pretty good job, and our coaches have done a really good job of maintaining the strength and the speed.
Ball State's work window will go even longer. The Mid-American Conference was the first FBS league to cancel fall sports and one of the last to okay a revised 2020 schedule. So the Cardinals are hoping to take advantage of having a couple extra weeks before their first game.
Patiently waiting for the announcement to come. I know our guys are excited. The staff is excited. We'll be ready to get to work knowing that we actually have an opponent on the schedule and we have something to work for.
Now it's just practice, getting back to kind of game type situations, getting back into kind of camp form in a way, but while still also having class and stuff like that. So being able to get back to just playing football is going to be kind of the most fun part, and we're excited to do that.
Indiana and Purdue will kick off on October 24th. The Big Ten playing a 9-game schedule with no bye weeks, wrapping up just before Christmas. The MAC schedule will begin on Wednesday, November 4th. Ball State opening at Miami, Ohio. It's a 6-game conference-only schedule, followed by the MAC championship. It is a season unlike any other, but the work between now and then will continue to look very, very familiar. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
It was about the 80s today. We take a step back into the mid-70s tomorrow. Lots of sunshine and then a little warmer Friday and Saturday. Enjoy. Mark, Amanda?
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news here at 6.
Join us again for the news at 7.